Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host, Toriel Jackson, and welcome back to the Toriel Jackson channel. Now, today on the Toriel Jackson channel, I am currently going to show you and tell you the lore of the Torn Assassin. Now, you don't already know about the Torn Assassin. In the most recent episode of our DRU sessions, the Torn Assassin has made his first appearance. And, well, he sort of terrified one of the characters, being Faded's character. Now, something about him is that he has this grizzled voice, that he's some sort of a terrifying being and presence, and almost someone that resembles death a lot. Now, excuse my sniffling, I have allergies right now. So one of the things that he's really most known for is absolutely taking the stage whenever his presence appears on whenever his presence even appears within the podcast. So I'm gonna post this after the podcast premiere, so you guys know a little bit more about the Torn Assassin. That's right, I'm going to be telling his lore, and while I'm doing that, I'm going to show you the process of me drawing the Torn Assassin, and I will show you the finished product at the end of this video, along with a bit of a background, to make him a bit more menacing and to fit with his lore and his character. Like I said, please do not mind the sniffling. I have allergies right now. So let us begin with his lore. The Torn Assassin is somewhat of an enigma at this point, but now he's not going to be anymore. So if you don't already know, he's called the Torn Assassin for a reason. That is because he is an assassin of the Assassin Syndicate. The Assassin Syndicate is the Assassin's Creed, or the Assassin's Brotherhood of DRU. Or the Assassin's Brotherhood was there before, but I'll explain whenever I do a character analysis and a lore explanation on another one of the characters, and once we get to that point, and if you request this character on the next time I do a DRU lore video, I will explain it. But for now, we're talking about the Torn Assassin. The real name of the Torn Assassin is Aliban al-Safar. Aliban al-Safar was born in Afghanistan and is a member of the Afghanistan branch of the Assassin Syndicate. He has been born into the Assassin Syndicate and has been an assassin his entire life. Upon turning 18, he ended up disguising himself on a mission as a member of the Taliban. So technically, he was there for the next invasion, in the 2022 invasion. Of course, when the Taliban retook over, since he was there, he got a higher position. Though it didn't take long. For 2 years after the initial invasion, Aliban and his best friend, who was also an assassin at the time, Muhammad Asar. Muhammad Asar is, of course, another assassin of the Assassin Syndicate of the Afghan branch. Of course, they were intercepted and they were found out that they were assassin spies, and they were captured and sent to Fort Tiliat. Fort Tiliat is a fort that is within the middle of the Afghan desert that nobody really knows about, not even the assassins. So right now they're in a situation where the assassins cannot even get to them, there's no one to really help them, and they're being constantly tortured for information on the Assassin Syndicate and the syndicate within Afghanistan by the Taliban. Of course, Aliban does not relent. However, Muhammad, of course, tells them some information, and this is important for later down in the storyline, because you are gonna really hate Aliban in a few minutes. I can already tell. Or not Aliban, Muhammad. Sorry. You're gonna really hate Muhammad in a few minutes and what he's done. Anyways, the Taliban then comes to them one day and says, "Hey, who is the wolf that's in this area?" So the wolves are the master assassins of the syndicate, and there are a total of 6 of them. However, Aliban and Muhammad only know about 2 of them. One of them being the wolf, the very leader of the assassin syndicate, but he's all the way in Ireland right now, and they know about his daughter, known only as the Spider. Now, they know, Aliban thinks that the Spider, since she is somewhat close in the area, and also in the same hemisphere. She's closer in relation to wherever the hell the wolf is. He thinks the spider's coming to save them, and that's why the spider's here. However, that's also not the case. She isn't there. What they don't know is that there's a third wolf there. The third wolf being called the Ace. Now, the Ace is terrorizing the Taliban at this point. Now, if you want a lore video on the Ace, or if they interact with the Ace at any point, please do leave a like. For I'll do another one of these videos if I reach 200 views. If you give me 200 views in this video, I will do another DRU lore video. So, Alban and Muhammad are stuck in this fort. One day, Muhammad gets set free. The reason why he's set free is because he tells the Taliban that he's no longer an assassin, has denounced his assassin heritage, taken off his hidden blade and cracked it, and has rejoined the Taliban. Though before he leaves, he whispers into Alban's ear, which Alban, of course, is still in prison. He whispers in his ear, "I will come back, and I will have reinforcements." However, that doesn't happen. So, here comes the bullshit part. 2 years later, 2 years after he said that, Alban is still being tortured inside Fort Tiliot. Now, Fort Tiliot, 2 years later, Muhammad ended up becoming the next heir and the new leader of the Taliban after killing the old one. And he ordered the Taliban to go kill Alban because he knows Alban could be a potential threat. Though kind of, yet not. He can't be a threat if he's tied up and chained. Though Alban throughout all this time, through these 2 years, has been praying to Allah, which is, he's Muslim. So he's been praying to Allah that the assassins come to save him. However, no assassins come, and his brother, or his best friend, not his brother, but he would see him as a best friend. His own best friend literally betrays him and sells him out to the Taliban. And so while the Taliban is slowly poking and stabbing him to death, giving him the slowest death possible, he swears revenge to get Muhammad, and he also swears revenge on the entirety of the Assassin Syndicate, becoming a permanent enemy. Now, as he's dying, something erupts inside him. Now, before this point, if you want a lore on Deathflame, I'll explain the lore of Deathflame and its role as a magic spell, and a type of magic within DRU. If, of course, this video gets 200 likes. That's right, I'll do another one, 200 views, another lore video on another character. But if you want Deathflame magic lore specifically, this video must get 200 likes. That's the goal. So, anyways, the Deathflame ignites within his soul. Upon igniting into his soul as he dies, he comes back. This time, he's imbued and bonded with Deathflame. Now, if someone's imbued and bonded with the Deathflame directly, that means the leader and the father of all Deathflame, his name being Winston, the father of Deathflame has chosen him to be his son. So, he is now the third. Alban has become the third son of Deathflame. The third son of Deathflame, he arises back again. The Taliban are terrified because now he's coming at him, this dead walking corpse, so they start shooting at him, but he doesn't stop. The bullet holes are still there, but he does not stop for anyone. Yeah. So he kills the 4 Taliban members who were stabbing him or who killed him, and he took their flesh, tied it to the parts where he was shot, and literally he's walking around with dead flesh on him. He uses dead flesh, he uses the flesh of the people he's killed to heal himself, and also to create a mask so he can walk amongst humans. Though that doesn't really work, and he ends up becoming even more terrifying and more of a horrifying monster. Now, Alban now escapes Fort Tiliot and killing every member of the Taliban within the fort, and because of that, now the Taliban's down soldiers, and they now have a new enemy. Of course, because of his tearing flesh, and because he was torn and ripped apart from the inside, he gifted himself the name that they, or Muhammad, ended up gifting him, the Torn Assassin. So now he's called the Torn Assassin. Ace, being the wolf, learns about the Torn Assassin and tries to go after Alban. The ace fails 3 times. 3 times to kill him, and 3 times to even defeat him. Turns out he's way more skilled than he thought. He also obtains some new weapons like the Jaded Scythe, which, of course, if you don't know, Jade is the counter to Death Flame. And I'll explain that when the Flame video. When I make the Death Flame video, I will explain that in much further detail. So, now, we are at a point where Ace has been defeated 3 times by Alban. Now, on this third time, this was the last time Ace would be defeated by him, but Alban never kills him. The reason why? Well, he said himself directly in his face, "Why would I kill someone weaker than myself? You are never, and will never be, worth my time." He literally told this man, one of the 6 few assassins that are the most powerful and most skilled, he told him, "You ain't worth my time." That is just fucking disrespectful. Jeez Louise. Anyways, back at it again, Alban then goes after the Taliban. He has become some sort of enigma, a ghost almost, because he starts killing the Taliban in their sleep. He's just unrelentless. Whenever there's Taliban presence in an area, he takes them out. Like, literally. He becomes an unstoppable force, and no matter what the Taliban throw at him, he does not stop. So they ended up calling him, and so did everybody else in the area and the world, since media and news started picking up on his story, they call him the Terror of the Taliban. Makes sense, doesn't it? Eventually he gets to Muhammad, and at this point the Taliban pretty much no longer exists. He's hunted down and killed every single member of the Taliban. And this happens 1 year before the apocalypse begins. So he kills Muhammad and sends him to the worst punishment possible. Since he's connected to Death Flame, he sends him to a place called the Fantonium Zone, which is so horrible of a place, it is worse than hell itself. So he sends Muhammad to the Fantonium Zone to be tortured and burned by Death Flame for all eternity. So you think he's gotten his revenge, right? You think his spirit can now rest? No, because here's what ended up happening. His spirit can never rest. That's right. The death flame burns within him, and because of that, he's basically become immortal. So, only a certain things can kill him, and that is the jade material, the very thing that brings immunity to people from death flame. So only jade can really kill him. And learning of this information, he must now join within the death flame to make sure he has control of this jade. And here's the thing. He was supposed to be a ruler. Winston wanted him to become a king and basically have his own land, his own throne, and everything, and imbue him with all this stuff. But he said no. Alban does not want to do that. Instead, he wants to serve, because it is in his blood, and that's all he ever knew, to serve those who were higher than him. And who better to serve than the daughter of Winston, and also the daughter of Death as well. If you want a lore video on her, we could talk about her. But of course, that means I have to get 400 views on this video. So, her name is Apricot, the Lich Queen and daughter of Death. So Apricot he now serves Apricot as her right hand. And here's the thing with Apricot. Apricot wants one thing that allows her to have rule and dominion over all life and death. And it starts with killing the Zombie King. That's right, she wants to kill the Zombie King, but she also hates Jiro. The reason why she hates Jiro is because Jiro's also trying to get in her way. She sees him as competition. So, yeah. She then mentions one of the few and only things that can really kill the Zombie King. That is the Black Blade. The Black Blade is a magical imbued blade that is accursed onto someone. This someone is then when they're cursed with Black Blade, whenever they kill someone with that Black Blade, it kills someone that they love or care about dearly. So it causes them to become detached. If you also want a lore video on the Black Blade, please leave 400 likes, not 400 views. 400 likes. I'm giving you guys like goals and view goals, and it's probably going to be reached at one point because I know session 1 is now over 100 views, which, by the way, I'm so grateful for, and thank you guys so much for that. Anyways, continuing with the lore of the Torn Assassin. The Torn Assassin then, by duty, does exactly what he's supposed to do. Goes and finds the bearer of the Black Blade to kill her. And he does. But unfortunately, this bearer of the Black Blade is the mother of one of the players. You won't know, and I will not reveal her identity. But he goes after her. But he is stopped by Jiro Sadachi. And Jiro gives him a warning. If you go near any of my ultimates or any humans and make deals with them or try to kill them again, I will rip you apart piece by piece. Seeing that, since he's supposed to be invisible except for the people he's supposed to torment, seeing that somebody else can see him terrifies him. And he also detects Jiro's immense power. And just absolutely gets scared. So he's doing whatever he can to avoid Jiro, but he also needs to kill and obtain the power of the Black Blade from this woman. But then he finds out that her daughter has appeared. And because her daughter's appeared, he can get through to the bearer of the Black Blade through her daughter. And so that's where we are now. Faded is the daughter of the bearer of the Black Blade, and because she is the daughter, that is why he made the deal with her. And that's where we are now. And the rest of the lore of the Torn Assassin will be explained throughout the rest of these sessions and through this quest line. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoy the design of the Torn Assassin. And please do leave likes and see this video and subscribe and hit the notification bell. And ladies and gentlemen, I bid you farewell. See you in the next live stream on Wednesday. Bye!